something happening here. What it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there telling me I got to beware. Think it's time we stop. Children, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. There's battle lines being drawn. Nobody's right, everybody's wrong. Young people speaking their mind, getting so much resistance from behind. We gotta stop. Children, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's your man Frank, View from the Man Cave. You know what I mean? I just want to say somebody over at the DNC thought that was cool. You know what I mean? Somebody over at the Democratic National Convention, the Democratic Party thought that was okay. They thought that was going to inspire black people to vote. You know what I mean? They thought that was going to inspire black men to vote. So we're going to talk about it today. We're going to, I'm going to ask a simple question and then we're going to break it down. Have black men outgrown the Democratic Party? All right. So welcome to View from the Man Cave, a place for honest, intellectual, and informative dialogue and discourse about all things related to masculinity and manhood, responsibility and respect, provision and protection. Let's talk about it. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Let's get into it. Y'all, what's good, man? It's your man Frank again, View from the Man Cave. We're gonna try something a little different today. So today we're gonna have some barbershop talk. All right. So me and my guests that I'm going to introduce soon, man. We at the barbershop, we chopping it up. All the fellas know how we do it. You know what I mean? When we're in the barbershop, we have real conversations, man, real men type manhood type conversations, man. We don't hold punches. We honest, we're forceful, and we're direct. You know what I mean? That's how we get down in the barbershop. Um, so we're gonna talk about it, man. But without any further ado, I have two guests on the show. Both of them are like family. They're very comfortable over here at the man cave at the barbershop. But and I have one brother, he's on the way, so he'll be here soon. But one of my panelists is here, and it's none other than my homie, my brother, Gabe, Ultimate Black Man Radio. What's good, bro?
Man, nothing much, Frank. What it do, man? My computer is covered in bussy juice now.
I know, man. It's crazy, man. His whole studio stink. You know what I'm
Man,
saying? I can't. It's
my
crazy, man.
computer's a little damp.
For sure. Yeah, man. It's wild, man. Like, I um the DNC was last week. I didn't really catch too much of it, but I did see that video, that performance, to open the night. And so, I mean, it was crazy, man. I felt disrespected, man. I felt violated. And so I wanted to come on here on the Man Cave and talk about it, man, live from the barbershop, and because it's I think black men have finally woken up. You know what I mean? There's still a lot of waking up to do, but I feel like there are some brothers out here who are tired of the games, who are tired of the finesse, and so they're walking away. And so we're gonna talk about it, man. I always keep my head in a book. I always keep my head, what I mean, in a magazine, in an article, things like that. And so I just been reading a lot of stuff, from Politico, from the Wall Street Journal, CNN, places like that. And all of them are saying the same things. They're alluding to the same things that since 2012, 2016, a lot of black men have walked away from the Democratic Party. A lot of black men. Now don't get me wrong. I don't want to misquote. I don't want people believing something that's not true. The majority of black people still vote Democrat. The majority of black men still vote for the Democratic Party. But what you've seen in the last, 4 to 8 years or so, in these last couple of elections, more black men are not voting. And more black men are voting. The ones who are voting, more of them are voting Republican. Since, these numbers are the largest they've been in the last 2 decades, according to reports. So we're gonna talk about it. So, Gabe, what do you think, man? What do you think about, why more black men are starting to walk away from the Democratic Party?
Man, it's a couple reasons. First and foremost, black men are starting to realize that they need to take their communities back. And if they want to do that, liberalism is not the way. You can't do that with a whole bunch of libs and bussy boys running around in your community.
Right.
So, sure enough, the Republicans are full of races, just like the Democrats are full of races. But one party is pushing for, like the Democrats, they're more associated with black women and matriarchy, whereas the Republican Party is more so associated with patriarchy. So black men are wanting a return to patriarchy. They're trying to defend the patriarch, just like black women have defended and pushed matriarchy the last 35, 40 years. Black men are starting to push and fight back. And they know the only way to do that is to they have to switch parties. They're gonna have to go Republican. And it may not be in huge numbers right now, but over the next few years, they're predicting more and more and more and more black men are going to vote Republican. So that's first and foremost. Black men are wanting to they want patriarchy back. They want their communities back.
Right.
Second off is men's rights. So a lot of men are getting tired of being taken advantage of in the courts. They're tired of being taken advantage of by women when it comes to like child support and divorce laws. And more men are becoming politically aware in that aspect. Not like we should be, but you are seeing an awakening in that.
Mhm.
And they feel as if the Republican Party can push that for them. So I think that's the second reason. Another reason too, I feel like a lot of black men are leaving the Democratic Party. Um, Simply put, they just don't want to be associated with liberal values. Most black people have conservative values.
Right.
If you look at their values and you compare it to the Republicans, it's almost tit for tat. The only reason we really vote Democrat is because the Democrats were the ones that signed the what bill is that? Is it the 68 Civil Rights Bill?
I think so. And the
Yeah,
voter right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
in the voter rights bill. That's the only reason black people really vote Democratic. And the Republicans are synonymous with like the KKK and backwater hillbilly racism.
Mm.
But as again, a lot of black men just simply do not care about that. And they're either wanting to take the community back or they just want to divest. So they're just black men are starting to choose what's best for them. They're no longer being just going along to get along. Black men are beginning to be selfish as they should, and they are voting with their best interests at heart. And if that means divesting and going with the Republican Party, hey, that's what they're going to do. Over the next 8 years, over the next 8 to 16 years, over the next 2-3 election cycles, it's going to be so critical for black people because these elections are going to force black men and black women to choose a side.
Facts.
This is why I really focus, and I saw this years ago. This is why my focus is primarily relationships, because the core values have to match between men and women, and part of core values is politics. So if your politics, if the men and the women are divided, you can't come together as a community. So a lot of black folks are going to have to choose over the next few years which party they're going to associate with, what core values they're going to adopt. And it's going to be very critical for black people over the next 2-3 election cycles, what side we're going to stand on, because it's going to dictate which way we go going forward over the next 100, 200, 300 years. So these next few election cycles are very critical. I think the next election cycle, you're going to see even more black men vote Republican because black men are just tired.
Facts. Yo, I feel like a lot of us have just gotten to a point where, we're tired. We're frustrated. We've fallen for the finesse long enough. You know what I mean?
Right.
The Democratic Party to us has not, promoted family.
No.
It has not promoted the nuclear family. Masculine men, feminine women. I think that the Democratic Party has struck a deal, you know what I mean? And they've divided our community, so to speak, with as far as, as it relates to black men and women. I feel like they've elevated women, black women, and they've elevated other minorities to include the gay community. And they've kind of left black people behind, black men behind. And they felt like, look, we got his woman, you know what I mean? His woman controls him, you know what I mean? So his woman is going to get him to vote for us, period. You know what I mean? If we get her, you know what I mean? She's really the leader in the household. We propped her up that way, to put her in the front, to put her, in front of him, to be able to make decisions and call shots and things like that. So all we have to do is just get her. If we get her, she'll get him in tow. You know what I mean? She'll get him to line up. So, so I do see that. And I think that, a lot of people will say, well, Frank, Gabe, Tony, who's going to come on a little later.
Actually, Tony's in the chat now.
Oh yeah, I see him. Yeah.
And shout out to yours truly. I see you with that new profile picture, yours truly.
Fact, you switched it up.
Shout out, man. I'm over here. I'm trying to be a little thirsty and see what's going on, man.
For sure. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. I see Chantel, Cornelius. I see y'all. Tony Maceo, Power and Strategy. Let me get to. G, you got the link?
Yeah, let me send it to him.
Okay. All right, bet. All right, Tony, the link's coming. Devin, Nicole, everybody, I see y'all. So for everybody just coming in, you know what I mean? We live in the barbershop, man. We have a barbershop talk, man. Grown man talk. We're talking about brothers, man, black men, and if we've finally outgrown the Democratic Party. So we're talking about that. But I feel like we've come to a fork in the road. I think black men are tired of playing the games. We're tired of the finesse, and we understand it for what it is now. It's a finesse. And I know a lot of people will say, well, Frank, Gabe, Tony, who's going to hop on soon. Well, the Republicans don't really do anything for you either. So, why are you putting your faith in them? Why are you putting your stake in them and walking away from the Democratic Party? And I'm here to tell y'all like this, black men aren't putting our stake in either side. You know what I mean? Like, we don't really care either way because, Malcolm X is one of my principal teachers. He's one of my, my greatest mentors. And Malcolm talked about the fox and the wolf, as it relates to politics in both parties. He related the wolf to the Republican Party and he related the fox to the Democratic Party. And Malcolm said, look, the fox and the wolf, they both eat the same meat. They both want the same things. They're carnivores. They kill animals and they eat the meat. They both want the same things. My fault, Devin. My bad. So they both want the same things. They want to eat the same things. But at the end of the day, the difference between the two parties is that they take a different approach to getting what they want. The Republicans, they're straightforward. They're conservative. They stand on their beliefs. This is what we believe. You know what I mean? We're not really going to push gay anything. You know what I mean? That's not what we believe in. You know what I mean? We believe in what we believe in and we're going to stand on that. We're not going to waver for anybody. You know what I mean? So they're very direct. They're the wolf. They're the ones just hop out of the bushes. They're going to run straight to that animal, kill it and eat it straight up. Now, the Democrats have historically taken a different approach. They're more of the finesse party. They're more of the benign neglect party. They're more of the, we're going to make all these promises and, we're going to promise you all these things and we're going to hope that you vote for us, and they never deliver. That's who they are. You know what I mean? They treat us like, a side chick. I've said it before on other lives, on other content. We have been the side chick to the Democratic Party. And brothers have just gotten to a certain point where we're tired of it. How do you treat a side chick? You go over there when you feel like it. You get what you want from her. You know what I mean? And you don't give her anything. You don't promise her anything. You don't break bread. You're not protecting her. You're not providing for her. All you're doing is just saying sweet nothings in her ear, getting her hyped up, getting her motivated, getting her excited. And you get what you want, and then you leave. You know what I mean? And you leave her with, a moist bed and hope. You know what I mean? And that's what you leave her with. And so that's what the Democratic Party has left black people with for a long time. You know what I mean? And black men, I think more so now than black women, according to the studies, have decided to stand firm on that. You know what I'm saying? So we're out, man. We're out. And like Gabe said, man, black people, I said, UK, what's good? I see y'all on Facebook too. Vern, my cousin Rico in the house, SD, Tiffany, I see y'all.
Yeah, Tiffany, see you. Said she listening with her husband.
Yeah.
See you.
Yeah, for sure. So like my man Gabe said, black people historically are more conservative anyway. You know what I mean? We have conservative values. We're not going to necessarily violate or disrespect people. So we show support or whatever to the gay community and things like that. But we are conservative. You know what I mean? By nature, historically we are. So what we want lines up more so with the Republican Party. And listen to me clearly. I'm not here to promote anybody. I'm not promoting the Republican Party. I'm not telling you who to vote for. What we here to do is talk about information, and y'all make the best decision for y'all. But according to the information, according to the facts, you know what I mean, black people are walking away from from the Democratic Party, more so than women. And we're gonna talk about that a little bit later. But without any further ado, I'm going to introduce my second panelist. This brother he's the Abbott. You know what I mean? He's one of my mentors in these social media streets. I learned a lot from him. I know a lot of these other cats on YouTube. I learn a lot from him. Y'all don't give him his credit though. You know what I'm saying? Stop biting his content. But without any further ado, here he is, my man Tony Maceo. Tony, what's going on?
Hey, man. Thank you for inviting me to the show. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Can you hear me? Okay. Thank you guys for inviting me on. Shout out to the panel. Shout out to Ultimate Black Male Radio. Shout out to View from the Man Cave. You brothers doing some good content over here. I was listening, when you came in, I was listening. My system had to actually update, so I had to switch out so that I could actually access StreamYard. So I would, ask your pardon me for being late, as it would be. But this subject is very, very important to me because I know you mentioned Malcolm X.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
And Malcolm X told us a long time ago, he told us not to register as Democrats or Republicans, but to register as independents. Now, it's a reason that this thing happened and the way it unfolded, The Democratic Party, the question is asked, has black men outgrown the Democratic Party? Black people have outgrown the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party policies were done in the mid to late 70s. We were done as far as, what the Democratic Party could give us. Now, what they did do and what they were masterful at doing, the Democratic Party was masterful at putting, these black officials, guys like Carl Stokes, guys like Mayor Richard Hatcher in Indiana, Carl Stokes in Cleveland, putting them into these little positions as mayor, giving them the backing of the Democratic Party machine for local offices, but never gave them any type of real power. I had a professor at Norfolk State University, and he had a term for this. It's called the golden handcuff syndrome, where you take someone and you give them a little bit of power, but you give them a little bit of money, a nice title, but no power. And it's interesting because what you said before, that was so important, because I've always said that we are the booty calls of American politics. We are the faithful side bitches of the Democratic Party. We've been in their pocket for the last 60 years, at least. And of course, it came from, the goodwill of John Kennedy, and you had some very progressive elements in the Democratic Party, but it was always that progressive element in the Democratic Party was always checked by what they call, quote unquote, the blue dog Democrats, which are really Republican light. And so what has happened is anything that they put forth, anything that they put through Congress, usually when they propose these legislations, because if you take something like, let's say, welfare, many people don't know, and this is a subject that I was going to upload over at Center of the Board, because again, my tagline is the voice of the Black moderate. So when they began this piece of legislation, not many people know that when they started welfare, and I'm choosing welfare because it's been a point of contention and it's been misrepresented and misstated. And it is a bad thing. It's a bad thing how they passed it. However, the way it was supposed to be was something different. When they first set out on this to enact welfare, it was raise the household income of Black homes. And it came in part from a study where they said, well, okay, they were trying to recruit people into the military service. And most of the ASVAB scores, that's the military entrance exam for those that don't know, those scores were particularly low. And they found that those low scores came from single parent homes, and a disproportionate number of those scores were, guess who? It was Black folks. So welfare was proposed as an increase to household income, but the way it was administered was to say, well, you can't have a man here in the home, and if you can't have a man here, if you have a man here in the home, the operative idea being is if you have a man here, he's working. But they miss the other part of the equation, which was the fundamental structural inequality in the system as far as unemployment of black men were concerned. So, in other words, you give this money or this expenditure in order to increase household income, but you didn't take into consideration the fact that the man wasn't working in the first place.
Right.
So what you did was you put the black family on a perpetual hamster wheel where they could, no matter how fast they ran, no matter how many strides that they thought that they were making, they never left the spot that they were standing in. So the failure of the Democratic Party was to fail. Now we can argue whether it was intentional or unintentional, was to a misunderstanding of how unequal or how inequitable the system was to black folks, but they did nothing to change it because the guy who is the so-called villain of this, Daniel Patrick Moynihan, who actually proposed another welfare bill behind that, the family assistance program, in which it was supposed to give money to household incomes regardless as to whether or not they had a man there, because the welfare reform or the welfare bill, what they sought to use with welfare, didn't achieve its purpose because you stripped the man out of the household. And it was Moynihan who fought to reform that. Now the Democratic Party has felt that, and it's quite condescending, they felt that we've already given you welfare, which is disrespectful as fuck. And they said, well, on top of welfare, we've given you the Voters' Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act of 1965. So they felt that any structural inequality that was in the system had been rectified by the Voters' Right Act. But what was really needed was a good old round of investment in the black community. And all of this came on. I mean, it wasn't like they didn't know this shit. They knew it. They knew it at the time it was happening. They can't say, well, we didn't know. They impaneled a commission under Senator Otto Kerner to say, well, how do we fix the black community? And they said, well, you're going to need massive investment, or what they call fiscal policy. That means government spending. So investing in these communities in order to give these people an infrastructure. Well, the counter to that, or the Republicans or the guys on the other side, the conservatives said, well, if you do that, you will raise taxes. You will raise taxes on the ordinary. And what they mean by taxes is tax on the white working class. You see, if we do this, we're going to raise taxes on good old hard work white folks. And white folks are not going to stand around they're not going to stand around and allow their taxes to be raised just to save niggas. Okay, it don't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. But they knew what was happening. The Democratic Party stood idly by and watched this happen. They stood idly by and watched the welfare program cut up, chop up, and enacted under their rule, tear apart the black working class and the black poor. They watched this happen. Now, were all of them in the basket on this? Were all of them in rank and file on this? No. The most notable of which was the late great Adam Clayton Powell out of Harlem, who fought this bill, who fought the welfare bill, who fought to fill the holes in the welfare bill. But of course, he ran into some problems sometime at some later point, and he wasn't able to be fully effective. But the Democratic Party knew what they were doing. They knew exactly what they were doing. And so because they didn't want to give what they should have given, or they didn't tender what was actually due to the black community as a result of the black vote, what they did was they enacted these programs that only perpetuated our poverty. Are you brothers familiar with the term poverty pimp? Have y'all ever heard that term?
I
have, yes, sir.
Poverty pimp, that term originates, that is a term that was created under the Democratic Party's stewardship. It was a direct indictment of their policies, and it was a neat little hustle. And it went something like this. They said, well, we're not going to afford the economic investment for them to achieve any type of parity with the white community. So then what they did, they came in with these programs that were under budgeted but overstaffed. So what in essence happened was you get these people going into these communities, going into these recreation centers and setting up these arts programs, setting up, these programs where they teaching kids, how to draw, how to paint, set up these little studios where it dealt with the cultural alienation, where they would have, poets, people come in and talk about
your audio is going in and out, Tony.
Man, the Bussy Boys came and cut Tony Maceo audio.
Yeah, they came and got him. Yeah, he'll hop back on. I knew it was gonna happen. He was gonna start cooking, and and then that Bussy energy was going was going to take over. But and guys, Tony's gonna hop back on, man. That's what he does, man. He drops facts, nonstop. But yeah, everything he's saying is true, and we've been sold some dreams, man. We've been sold a bill of goods. Actually, let me go back and speak on what yours truly was saying. So I'm gonna read what she wrote, Gabe, and then we can just tag team. You can give your opinions on it. So yours truly says, why does it seem like a lot of Black people push the Democratic view as if voting Republican makes you white? I try and have political convos with people who look like me, but I'm shunned. Gabe, you want to speak on it?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Niggas have coon syndrome. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Niggas have coon syndrome. And like I said earlier, yours truly.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Tony.
We can hear you.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, you good.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. I'll make it quick. So Black people, we compare the Republican Party to racism. So society and politicians, they have convinced.
I think I interrupted him. Go ahead.
No, you're fine, Tony.
You're fine.
They have convinced Black folks that Republicans are inherently racist and Democrats aren't. A lot of Black folks still believe that the Democrats aren't racist. It's just a bunch of liberals and they're all for equality and everything. It doesn't matter how many times the Democrats ignore Black folks and give the LGBTQ rights, they give the Hispanic rights, the Asians rights, the Arabs rights, Native Americans rights. They give everybody else rights, but when it's time to give the niggas rights, oh well, sorry, we can't do anything for you. Doesn't matter how many times that happens. Everybody when you mention Republican, everybody automatically thinks the KKK. They think lynchings. They think police brutality. They think the police state, etc. When you think of the Democrats, you're thinking of liberalism, equality, socialism. A lot of your European countries that are socialist, a lot of people think like Democrat, socialism, equality. So that's really more so the thing. And a lot of people are uneducated about a lot of things. So even in these Democratic run states or cities, like I'm in Memphis, mostly Democrats here, Baltimore, Detroit, mostly anywhere where there's a lot of Black folks, there's a lot of Democrats. The cities, even though the cities are ran really, really poor, they convince the Black people that if you get the Republicans in office, you'll lose rights. Even though you have no rights, even though they're killing you in the streets, just like they are in, boomfuck Alabama, It doesn't. It's the same thing. But black folks, again, we refuse to read. We refuse to read policies. We refuse to actually dig deep into what the Democrats are really about, and even what the Republicans are really about. So that's really what it boils down to. I'll leave it at that and let the other guys chime in.
Okay, you got it, Tony. You want to take a stab at her question or a comment? I'll go for a while Tony gets set up. But yeah, Gabe really broke it down, spoke a lot of facts on that. A lot of it is just misinformation, and we've been raised to believe that, the Republicans are the racists. They're the monsters. They're the boogeyman. And if you want some form of safety, if you want some form of trinkets and things like that, you have to get them from the Democratic Party. You know what I mean? That's how we're taught. That's how we're raised. So I remember growing up and in my household, and I remember having conversations with my mother, and she would say that all the time, like, once these Republicans come in, all of these social programs are gone. All the little social programs that you love so much, at the community center, at the park, and in your after school program and things like that. A lot of those things are going to be gone. You know what I mean? If a Republican gets in. And so, I used to have these conversations with friends when I got older. I would say, look, well, I didn't really understand why Republicans would do that. But then the older I got and the more information that I read and understood, I was able to understand why. Republicans are saying, look, we don't want these social programs because we want you to take care of your own damn kids. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to spend money having all these social programs and things like that to help you raise your kids. You know what I mean? You should raise your own kids. You should get married. You should have kids with the man you had these babies by, and y'all should come together and take care of these children. We should not have to pay, you know what I mean, to help you raise your kids. You know what I mean? Whether that's right or wrong, it is what it is. But we've been raised to think that the Republicans are the boogeyman. And don't get me wrong, I'm not a Republican. I vote independent. That's what I do. I vote independent. I'm going to go with the best position for me, whoever has that. And to Gabe's credit, when you look at a lot of these urban cities, a lot of black men are seeing this too. We're saying, look, yo, we live in the DCs of the world. We live in Baltimore. We live in New York. We live in Memphis. We live in Cleveland. You know what I mean? We live in Atlanta. You know what I mean? What is the quality of life for black people in these cities? These cities are ran by Democrats. The mayor, for the most part, is Democrat. The governor, the Senate, senators, representatives, your entire political team in these urban cities, for the most part, are Democrat. And what have we gained for? What have we gained by voting blue all the time? By being the side chick for the Democratic Party? By being the concubine of the Democrat? What have we gained from it? We've gained nothing. So, I hope I answered your question. I'm gonna let Tony hop on and KO as well, who just came on. I'm gonna let them knock it down too. But yeah, he's just, we've been trained and conditioned to feel like, that the Republicans are the boogeyman and the Democrats are, our hero. They are our ally. That they're going to be here and help us and do all these things, and they have not. So I'm gonna let Tony speak on it, and then I'm gonna let my man KO hop in and do his thing too. You got it, Tony.
Well, when you say what have they done initially, of course, I can't take away from the fact that they gave us the Voting Rights Act. Unfortunately, they ain't done much else.
Right.
But they gave us the Voting Rights Act. And they gave us, local black representation, which again facilitated this problem of, these cities being so fucked up. And see, the thing is they absolutely could have changed it. Could have changed this by budgeting what should have been budgeted for. It was the Democratic Party that underfunded Detroit. It was the Democratic Party that underfunds Memphis. We had a Democratic president, and Memphis is no better off now than it was then.
Right.
We had a
Yeah, Tony, we still having issues with your audio. I think you still going in and out.
Yeah, I can barely hear it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Democratic.
Let's see.
Yeah, yours truly. I have had the same thing happen. I actually had to block somebody because of that. I asked them, you ask these niggas to tell you the three branches of government, they can't tell you, but they're trying to convince you need to vote for Joe Biden. You
Facts.
ask them why, and they can't tell you. Now you'll have some of these niggas running around here telling you, yeah, Greensburg, she's trying to hang on for dear life, and we need to get a liberal Supreme Court justice in there, and if Trump gets another 4 years, she's not gonna make it. They'll tell you that because they heard that on CNN.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of that, if you ask niggas why are you voting for Joe Biden, they cannot tell you. All they can do is say anybody but Trump. I made a post and I asked folks why the anybody but Trump crowd. Why are you voting for Joe Biden? No one can tell you anything. They can call you a dumbass. You're an idiot for not voting. Oh, if you're not voting, you're voting for the Republicans. They can say all that, but if you ask them, give me specific policies that the Democrats that you like about the Democrats that are actually going to help Black people, nobody can tell you. We can go over policies that are going to help the LGBTQ, the Hispanic, the Native Americans, the Arabs, the Asians. They got policies in there to help all of them. But when it comes to Negroes, nobody has an answer. It's just, oh, I don't know, anybody but Trump. Anybody. That's all they say, because Black folks have this thing about having they put feelings into politics. You don't have to like your politician in order for him to do your bidding. But over here in Black society, we feel like we want to attach feelings. We have to like the politician in order to vote for him. I'll vote for Donald Trump if he has tangibles for me and my people versus Barack Obama if he's not going to do anything like he did the 8 years in office. He didn't do a damn.
You're not lying. You're not lying.
But Black
to be honest, he did something, just nothing for Black folks.
But Black folks have this childlike teenage mentality that we have to like folks in order for them to do our bidding. Politics don't work like that. You pay your politicians to do the bidding for you. Negroes want everybody to do something for them for free. Please do something for me for free. Push policies for me. Haven't put a dime on their damn campaign, but niggas expect these politicians to do something for them. The game don't work like that. So that's why you see when you ask them I had one person, he gave me a specific detail why he was voting for Joe Biden, and I respected him for it. Was it enough to get me to vote for Joe Biden? Hell no, I'm not voting for him. But I understood why. He gave me reasons why. But most 95% of Black folks, if you ask them why we need to vote for Joe Biden, all they're going to say is, anybody but Trump. That's all they're going to say. Doesn't matter if Democrats. See, Black people like their racism disguised. I saw a picture of, they said this is the Democrats, and they had the KKK uniform in a kufi cut. African garb. Those are you Democrats. Black folks they want to go back to sleep. See, with Trump in office, it forces Black people to face racism for what it is. Black people like their racism hidden. They like these white folks. They want to skin and grin and coon and step and fetch and sambo shuffle in front of these white folks. White folks are pushing these policies that are detrimental to Black folks, but as long as they're smiling in your face, you're okay with it. You know what I'm saying? It's just a whole bunch of ignorance and stupidity, and I'll just leave it at that and let the other guys chop on that.
You got it, KO. You got it.
Oh man, I don't really have much to say. I mean, we all know that Joe Biden's full of shit. I remember the policies that he pushed back in the early '90s. Even though I was little, I went back and did my homework on it. When you bring these things up, and you bring up the fact that even Bill Clinton came out and admitted that the '94 crime bill and all of that stuff was wrong, you know, but you didn't make no efforts to try to undo what you had done back then. Then you factor in what's her damn name, Kamala Harris.
Mm-hmm.
We know what she did. Suppressed evidence with people that's on death row that could have saved their life. Had people locked up in California over dumbass charges that could have been released, but you didn't want to because you wanted free labor. Broke the record of locking up black men over frivolous bullshit. You know what she did.
Right.
When you bring this kind of stuff up, that's what like. I don't really want to get into the woman versus man thing, but they say unprotected and things like that. But when we talk about these policies that a quote unquote black woman specifically used to target black men, you saying, "Oh, she's doing her job." Come on now, that's crazy. You saying that the men aren't there; they're in jail, but she's played. These two people play an intricate part of locking up our fathers, and if there was some grandfathers in the '90s, I doubt it. But you get the gist of what I'm saying. It's ridiculous. These people played a very important part in locking these people up. And you're just saying, well, just vote for them anyway. Nah, I ain't gonna do that.
Facts. And to yours truly's credit, for a comment, a lot of black people, we just aren't intelligent as far as it relates to politics. We're not politically savvy. We don't understand how to vote. A lot of us, we've grown up with the knowledge that our ancestors fought and died and they got beat up and locked up, for our right to vote, and we should vote. But they don't tell us how to vote. You know what I mean? And that's important. We've had great people. For me, my principal teacher as it relates to politics is Malcolm and then Dr. Claude Anderson. Those are the two people that I look to for information about how to vote if you're going to vote. And Dr. Claude Anderson talks about that in his books, preferably Powernomics, where you have to understand how to vote. And politics is about money. And black people don't understand that. We still think that, us not coming together collectively and not having an agenda, but just going to the polls and voting, we think that's okay. And it's not okay. When you look at politics, the reason why other people get things is because they put money on the table. The LGBT community puts money on the table. They financially back candidates. They financially backed Barack Obama. And Barack Obama did so much for them that they called him the first gay president, in magazines. So the same thing with the Hispanic community. The Hispanic community puts money up. J-Lo and her team were the face of it. They came to these candidates and they said, look, we have the money. We have these tens of millions of dollars. And if you take this money, this is what we want. We want to be able to come over here and get skeeted in and have kids and they get to go to school for free. You know what I mean? We want that. We want people to hop over the fence, come over here, get skeeted in, have a baby at a hospital for free, and be able to not pay taxes. That's what we want. You understand what I'm saying? And Obama and Obama had to comply. He had to comply with DACA. He had to give them what they wanted. If he wanted that money, facts. If he wanted that money, if he wanted their votes, he had to comply. And so black people, although we deserve more than anyone, but we still have to put money on the table. You know what I mean? These politicians are going to go where the money is. They are to be bought and sold to the highest bidder. That's the role they play. You know what I mean? They're not these good, wholesome people that are going to do the right thing because it's morally correct. They're not. They're going to go where the money is. They have a family too. All of these politicians, whether the ones we like, the ones we don't like, they take money. You know what I mean? Democrats and Republicans, they argue with each other all the time when it's campaign time about who they're getting money from. But the Democrats, just as much as the Republicans, if not more so, They take money. They get money from these banks. They get money from these
Mhm.
powerful people, and they do their bidding. They cut red tape. They make sure that they can have certain set aside so that they can keep their money, so that they can go overseas and pay people, $1 an hour instead of giving you, $15 an hour in benefits and stuff like that. Politicians do their bidding because they put money up. They have power and influence. We have to understand how to vote, and we don't do that. And so they prey on that. They come to us. They don't offer us anything. They don't. They'll come around us with some hot sauce in a purse. They'll come around. I mean, if you think about it, let's just be honest. Black people voted for Bill Clinton because he played the saxophone on Arsenio Hall. That's why they voted for him. They didn't vote for him because of his policies. They don't know what the hell he did in Arkansas, for black people, if he made their quality of life better. They have no idea. All black people knew was this man went on Arsenio Hall, which was the preeminent late night talk show for black people. He went on there. He had his black shades on. He played the saxophone, and we said, bet, that's our guy. People called him the first black president. Did nothing for you but lock you up. You know what I mean? And endorse policies that locked you up, but we didn't care because, like Gabe said, we vote off of emotions. We vote because we feel like we like him. You know what I mean? Don't give a damn about what his policies are. Don't care nothing about that. All we know is we like him. He's cool. President Obama was cool. And I know it's going to hurt a lot of people's feelings. I don't care because this is a truth channel. The people I got on this panel going to tell you the truth, whether you like it or not. The truth will remain. President Obama didn't do nothing for us either. Let's just keep it a buck. Okay, he did not. He did not. He came in. He was cool. He was fist bumping. He was the first black president. You know what I mean? And that was enough for us. And we didn't require we did not require anything of this man. And I had friends come and tell me that, when I would go to them and say, look, man, he's not doing anything for us. You know what I mean? Our lives are no better now than it was when Bush was in, if you want to keep it a buck, or Reagan or any of these cats. You know what I mean? He spent just as much money. He dropped just as many bombs as the other presidents. He did. And what did he do for us? And people would tell me, well, Frank, he can't do everything for everybody. He's not the black president. He's the president of everybody. Like my man Gabe said, these candidates do things specifically for certain people. It has happened. They all do it. I just told you about what he did for the Hispanic community. We talked about what he's done for the gay community. Those are specific communities. Okay, I'm not Hispanic. I'm not gay. The majority of black people are not gay. So we don't benefit from this stuff. You know what I mean? No disrespect to them, but the majority of us are not gay. So I don't get nothing. I don't get nothing from that, but just be able to say that is a man in a White House who looks like me. What does it mean for him to look like me if he's not doing nothing for me?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? This man, President Obama, literally, a lot of people don't know this, but President Obama literally started taking money away from HBCUs. He cut into their budget. And so a lot of and y'all can look it up. A lot of these HBCU presidents, the presidents of these universities stepped to him and was like, what you doing? You know what I mean? Like you out of pocket. And so he had to go back and kind of change some things and shake some hands and give out some hugs. But initially when he came in, he took a lot of money, a lot of federal funding from HBCUs. And so we have to get off this mindset that it's just okay just to be in a certain position. Like just to have a black person, like Tony was saying, we get happy just to have a black person in a seat.
Right.
You don't give a damn what he does for us.
And Frank, it's so many people that don't want to do the homework and gain this kind of knowledge because they just so embroiled in believing that just because somebody's not Democrat or whatever the hell they call it, that they're evil, and all this other stuff. I'll tell you who it was. I've literally had a woman tell me, y'all can pretty much guess. I brought up the Obama situation. We was talking about. I said Obama was garbage. He did absolutely nothing. Everybody got something but us. This woman literally told me, "Well, I voted for him twice. He didn't have to do nothing. He was the first black president." I said, wait a minute. He didn't have to do nothing. She said, "Nope." He was black. That's all that mattered to me. I said, wow, no wonder you living off a fixed income. That's why.
And
Right there.
yours truly made a statement. She said, "Who knows? At least with Trump, we know what we're getting. Who knows what we'll get with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris? I can tell you what we're gonna get. Niggas are gonna get locked up.
Locked up.
Yeah, they gonna start. They gonna take
Well,
back the prison reform and all of that.
I
So they
call
want niggas locked up.
I call them Joe 3 Strikes Biden and Kamala locked them niggas up Harris.
Facts.
Kamala Harris was the DA when Oscar Grant got killed in Oakland.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
She was the Attorney General for the state of California.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
What you think she gonna do?
Mm-hmm.
That was her job. And on top of that, like, look, I live in DC. I work in the federal government. I work in the criminal justice field. And so what you'll hear a lot of these politicians will say, you know, well, you have Democrats who will say that they're going to, you know, they want crime to be minimal. They want it to be lower than expected or lower than it's been. That's a lie. Let me tell you something. If you think about it, for a second, this world, this country revolves around crime. Crime is an industry. Crime is business. Think about it. There are at least 8 states. I think it's 8 to 10 states in this country that spend more money on prisons than they do on schools. Louisiana's one. California is one.
That's for sure.
I can go. I can look it up, but there are at least 8 states in this country that spend more money on prisons than they do on schools. What they understand is that crime is business. Look at it. I mean, just look at the entire industry. You got cops, you got probation officers, you got lawyers, judges, right. You got security systems. You know what I mean? You got all.
Can I explain something real quick, Frank?
You got it, bro.
Yeah, like what a lot of people don't know is the reason that they so quick to lock niggas up is because, you know, you talk about how prison is big business, but people don't actually understand that the way that it's big business is not only are they having these people work for slave wages, because a lot of people say that slavery was abolished. It really wasn't. Slavery was just transferred from individual to the government. That's pretty much it. Right. The 13th Amendment really just states that you can only be put under slavery type conditions if you're being punished for a crime, which leads to prison. Right. And when you're actually in prison, a lot of people don't actually know that they actually charge you for being in prison. My brother went to prison for some bullshit, which was justified. And when he got out of prison, he owed he did 2.5 years. He owed damn near $30,000.
Yep, they call it restitution.
Right. So you go to prison, you serve your time, you get a felony, you get out, you can't get a job because you have a felony, and you owe the government, and you have to pay them, or they will lock you back up. But you can't get a job.
Thanks.
And you have kids, and you have a woman, so you got to feed your family. But you went to jail because you was doing illegal activities, but that's all you can do now because you can't get a job. So they don't want prison. They want crime, because that without crime, man, there would not be the need for all these police officers. There wouldn't be the need for parole officers and all of this other shit. All of these people are eating off the fact that there's crime. That's why they keep resources limited in these cities, because they know it's gonna be crime. They don't want to have resources out where everybody's working and making a livable wage. Hell no. Because that's gonna mess up the prison system. That's gonna have POs laid off and things like that.
It's a money maker, and a lot of you have the industries who are directly linked and involved with it. But then at the same time, you have secondary industries. Like if you in the prisons, I've had plenty of family members who've been in jail, who've been in prison. There are industries that the people who make the food.
The phone. About that. Global telling.
That phone is a killer. I remember growing up, man. My older brother was in, he was doing some jail time. He was doing a little bit of state time. Shout out to him, my brother. I love you. And And so my mom, man, he would call all the time, and we get that, this is a collect call from, da da da, and press 1 and all of that. And then my mom would get that bill, and it'd be dumb. You know what I mean? These cats is on the phone. These phone companies are charging, $2-3 a minute. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a big industry. So you've seen it. You've seen I think it was in Pennsylvania where the court system, where the judge, I think his sister was running like a youth detention center. And so she teamed up, with her, with this judge, and the judge was funneling kids into her her detention center. Like these kids were going to jail for, like these kids were going to the grocery store stealing gum, stealing a pack of M&Ms. And the judge was it could be their first offense. And the judge was giving them 18 months, you know what I mean? At this youth jail or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So just the fun, and then they caught wind of it, and and they blew it up, and everybody had to do jail time and stuff like that. But this thing is a big business, man. So you can't get wrapped up in what these politicians say. You have to look at their record, and the only way you can do that is do the research. But like Gabe was saying earlier, we are afraid as Black people to do the research on these candidates and know the truth, because if we know the truth, that's going to require you to do something. You can't sit on the truth and not make a move. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of us, we like to wallow and lay around and swim around in that mud and be lax and lazy and not really have to do anything, because we think ignorance is bliss, and it's not. And that's the reason why we're economically at the bottom. We're not demanding anything of these politicians. We're not putting money on the table to buy these politicians. So, because if you're not going to vote, okay, prime example, there's a group of people that vote, like the Asian community votes the least out of all of the groups of people in this country. And there's a reason why for that, because they're independent. They've set up themselves so well that they don't need to go to other people to take care of them. They have their own banks. They have every major city in America, Memphis, Cleveland, New York, DC, Atlanta, wherever, you can find a Chinatown. You can find an Asia town. There's a carry out in every Black neighborhood. They make money. They own their own businesses. They're self-contained. They do what they do on their own. You don't see Asian people up in your soul food restaurant. You know what I mean? Gabe and my bro Ko live in Memphis. How many times you went to the soul food spot in Memphis somewhere and seen some Asians in there eating? No, they stay where they stay at. They eat with themselves. They do what they do, and they take care of themselves. So they don't have to go out and beg people to give them trinkets and things like that.
Man, if anything, the agent's gonna be fixing the soul food.
Facts.
Yeah.
I mean,
I love to go to chow time. Chow time game.
They'll keep it the same name.
Man, you gotta go hit it up one day, man. That food is kind of good, bro.
We need to go Monday morning.
Man, told to be open on Monday. Yeah, man. I like to go in there and get some of that grill food, man.
I go in as soon as they open. The food fresh. 11 o'clock.
They'll still call it Earl's, but they own it, and they in the back cooking, or they'll have us in there cooking, but they own it. But
they don't even eat that shit like that.
They don't.
They'll eat some of that Chinese rice. That's about it.
I lived in when I was in the Army. I was stationed in South Korea, and so I lived there for a year. And I never, like, when I would go to the spots there to eat, they didn't eat the stuff we eat here. There was no General Tso's chicken, you know what I'm saying? And Seoul. There was no orange chicken. I didn't see it. You know what I mean? Like, that's for us, what they do. But my point is that Asian people vote the least. They're not in the polls because they don't have to be. If you're not going to vote, if you're not going to depend on these politicians and hope that they, you whore yourself out for them and hope that they give you $1. If you don't do that, you have to be self-contained. You have to have ownership of your community. You have to have your family structure right, your nuclear family structure right. Yep. And honestly, when you look at it, it's funny because I know my sister Nicole was in here earlier, but the Democratic Party, to me, and this is just my personal opinion, it doesn't really promote the nuclear family. It doesn't really promote the man as head of household, masculine man, feminine woman, kids, and that entire structure. They don't really support that from what I've seen. Now, I just let Tony back in. He just hopped back on. So Tony, go ahead and hop. Oh, he hopped right off. He's having some issues, but once he gets set up, we definitely going to let him spit and let him do his thing.
Let him run.
Because Tony, he's good for that. But yeah, man, it's black men. I started this. I wanted to do this live because I saw that all the articles suggested that black men were starting to walk away from the Democratic Party more so than they have in the past, and more so from black women. And I wanted to kind of touch on that dynamic, as well. Why are black men more inclined to walk away like we've been in the last 4 to 8 years? Why are we walking away more so than black women? What are we seeing that black women are not seeing?
We're not benefiting.
I see you, Tony. So you go ahead, hop right in, do your thing.
Yes, sir.
Well, one of the things that they've been benefiting from, here's what the Democratic Party, I had to change system, guys, so please forgive me. I don't know what it is. StreamYard doesn't work very well with my system. So
it's the feminist, Tony. That's all, man. They mad at me. I've been cooking them all week, and they're just taking it out on you, Tony. That's
I think my system is full of a lot of niggatry. But anyway, what happens is that the Democratic Party, the reason why you're not going to get black women away from the Democratic Party for one reason. The Democratic Party is great at giving black women middle management positions. They're great at giving black women middle management positions. Again, it's the old golden handcuff syndrome. Nice title, decent salary, very little power. They are essentially the equivalent of their political nannies, their political babysitters and gatekeepers. That's their purpose. That's their purpose. And also the Democratic Party is also great for supporting black women in positions of, let's say, judgeships, local offices. They will always be able to get the support of the Democratic Party at the local level. At the local level. It is rare that they give that support. Now, of course, Gillum had it and he fucked it up. But they rarely do that. They rarely throw their weight behind, and I mean real party support behind black men in races that really matter. A lot of times behind the scenes, they want to see, in other words, they make you raise 10 votes or they make you raise 10,000 votes before they give you $1,000 worth of support. And it is this type of a difference. They play difference between black men and black women. See, black women, they'll give them the goodies because, let's face it, I mean, you guys said it earlier, it's a family situation. Who spends the most money in the black community? It's the black woman. Right. Who is the head of the house in most black communities? It's the black woman. Right. Who is the one who is the decision maker, the shot caller in the black community? It's the black woman. So they're catering to that element. I mean, before anyone else, let's keep it 100. I know we hate to say it, but black women were the first to support and endorse Barack Obama. They were the first ones to do it before anyone else. Niggas were like, well, wait a minute. Let me see what's going on for a minute. Hold on before I jump in here, like this. Before I just jump out here, let me see what's happening. Let me check the temperature. Let me see what's going on before I jump on this train. But if you go back and look at those campaign centers, go back and look at the people who were working at those polls, go back and look at the people who were making the phone calls, it was the women. The women were where the action, was. So that's one reason why they're not going to, because they have a good section of the scraps. They don't have the whole damn loaf, or they don't have the best part of the meat, but they have enough of it to make them happy. That's why they will be dislodged. That's why they will not be dislodged from the Democratic Party, because they've done an excellent job of stringing them along. And if I had to equate it to something, The Democratic Party has given black women 75. That's the best way I can say it. They gave them 75. Look, if you do this, you got enough for some blunts, you got enough for some ramen noodles, you got enough to smoke, to get your drink on for a minute, but that's about it. And you got a lot of black women that are happy with that support. You guys, next time you do something, go look at these judgeships. Go look at these women that sit on the benches as judges, these women and these black women that sit on the benches as judges. The party that's usually behind them, not all the time, the party that is usually most consistently behind them is the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party is literally the party for black women. It is literally the party for the single black mother. It hurts to say that, but that's the truth. The Democratic Party, as you have so eloquently pointed out, the Democratic Party, in a sense, enables, supports, exacerbates, and increases black dysfunction through its policies. Through its policies. It keeps it's just like it's political crack cocaine is what it is. It's political crack cocaine. They keep you hooked by giving you scraps. They keep you hooked by giving you the minimum. So when you look at like something, let's say the Republican Party, they talk about how the Republican Party did Michael Steele. Well, you can talk about how the Republican Party did Michael Steele, but I remember how the Democratic Party did Jesse Jackson. Now, whether you like Jesse Jackson or not, that ain't very important to me. That ain't even the damn issue. Right. Jackson ran twice. I was done with the Democratic Party at age 17. And I'll tell you why. Jesse Jackson ran for president twice. He ran in 84 and he ran in 88. In 88, when he ran under Michael Dukakis. This was probably before some of you were born, but nevertheless, he ran in 1988 with Michael Dukakis. When he ran with Michael Dukakis, there is an unwritten or an informal custom that's usually done in these races where they decide who they're going to take as a vice presidential candidate. Is usually the person who is either the second or third highest vote getter in the primaries is usually the person that they choose for their running mates. Okay. So in that particular race, it was Jesse Jackson. It was Jesse Jackson was the man who should have been Dukakis's running mate. But I know why he didn't do it. He didn't do it because he knew he wouldn't get the support of the so-called Dixiecrats or Blue Dog Democrats or whatever you want to call them. He couldn't get the support for the Democratic Party in the South. So he broomed Jackson and brought on this man, Lloyd Benson, who couldn't get any votes. He couldn't get elected dog catcher in a kennel. But that's the man he brought on with him. And of course, he got subsequently destroyed in the general election when he ran against Ronald Reagan at that time. So what was it? No, yeah, when he ran against Ronald Reagan at that time. No, I'm sorry. Yep, Ronald Reagan. No, I'm sorry. Excuse me. My memory's playing tricks on me. It was George Bush. He got destroyed by George Bush with the Willie Horton ads. But once he did that to Jackson, a lot of black folks in the Democratic Party set up and took notice. And a lot of us didn't want a damn thing to do with the Democratic Party ever again. We were done with the Democratic Party after they did him dirty. Again, the issue is not whether or not you like Jesse Jackson. That's not the issue here. The issue here is that the Democratic Party consistently panders to its most conservative elements. So if they want to make the argument that the Republicans are the boogeyman and that the Democrats are, the giant slaters, there's nothing further from the truth. There's nothing further from the truth. Republican and Republican light. That's what the Democratic Party is. Now, when we talk about the Republican Party, of course, the Republican Party there's a sector of the Republican Party that appeals to black folks because truth be told, we've always had Republican values. People who witnessed their families being sold and split up are likely going to want to support any family that believes in support any party that believes in family. So you didn't have to tell us to be pro-family. You damn sure didn't have to tell us to be pro-God. You damn sure didn't have to tell us to be pro-business. So we were Republicans before Republicans were Republicans. As a matter of fact, we were Republicans back in the day before the switch, because it was the Republicans who were the ones that were welcoming us. It was a Republican president that pardoned Marcus Garvey. It was a Republican president that shook Jesse Owens' hand when Woodrow Wilson spit at him.
Right.
It was a Republican president that was more welcoming. But like anything else in politics is just like a jukebox. If you want any music, you got to put some money into it. You have to put some money into it. So when you're talking about, well, are the Republicans racist? Well, a lot of them are, but are the Democrats racist? Of course they are, no question. One of them, the only difference is that when they get ready to lay down with you, one of them's going to lick on your nipple. One of them's going to lick on your nipple, and the other one's going to turn you around and shove it in you raw with no protection or no consideration as to whether you're properly turned on before they get it on. So if they're talking about, well, Democrat versus Republican, no, there are some people in the Republican Party when it comes to issues that I can work with. There's some people in the Democratic Party when it comes to issues I can't work with. I don't see anything wrong. I don't have anything wrong with gay people wanting to stake out their humanity and wanting to share. But the problem is when you start forcing your value system on other people. For example, if you're going to say, well, you want a separation between church and state, right? That's fine. I get that. It's in the Constitution. So you're going to say, well, my child has a right not to be intimidated or bullied or forced into praying the Christian prayer. And I grant you that. But you don't have any right to tell the child of Christian parents that he can't pray.
Right.
You don't have the right to tell the child of Christian parents that he shouldn't look at the cross with some reverence, that he shouldn't look at the gospel or believe in the gospel simply because you don't. And the thing is that the Democratic Party, I mean, for all intents and purposes, has been usurped by a very, very progressive, too progressive. You could be so damn open-minded that your brain will fall out of your skull. And so their agenda has become so liberal to the point where it leaves out certain fundamental values that just don't appeal. You talk about black men, it don't appeal to black people, period. It doesn't appeal to black people, period. If gay and lesbian and transgender people want to get married, you got the right to get married, but you ain't got the right to force no church to marry you.
Right.
If it's against their damn religious beliefs. So the Democratic Party has become increasingly hostile to traditional families. It has become increasingly hostile with respect to the interests of everyday working class people who do believe in God, country, and hard work.
That's well said.
That's what Big Bro does, man, every time. But so if we're walking away, what can, and you guys can, jump in and give your take. But if we're walking away and we're dissatisfied, what does the party have to do to bring us back? What do they have to do in order for us to come back and get back on board? Because a lot of us, especially black men specifically, we've decided like we're disinterested. We have no desire to play the game. We know that it's not even, when you go to Vegas, shout out to Vegas. You go to Vegas or you go to a casino and you gamble. A lot of times, you do it because you have a hope of winning once in a while. And if you play enough, you may win something. It may be $1,000, it may be $10, but when you go out there and you put your money up, you're gambling. You're gambling with the mindset that there's a possibility that you can win. And I think politically in this country, we've been going to the casino, and we've been going to this casino for 40, 50 years, and we haven't won anything. Outside of the Civil Rights Act, outside of the Voting Act, since the 60s. So from 1970 on, We haven't won anything. We've been going to the casino. We've been putting our money up. You know, we see all the signs. We see all the dollar. We see all these other groups of people, you know, walking over to the office, cashing in their little paper and getting their money, winning. We're seeing them excited, happy about everything. And then we're sitting around since 1970 playing, putting our little quarters in the slot, you know, putting our money up on the blackjack table, and we haven't won anything. So, and you guys' opinions, what can they do to get us back? What can they do to get us motivated again to start, you know, voting for them?
I would beg to differ. I don't think that black people have sunk money. We've sunk our votes. We've sunk our political patronage into we haven't put our money in it. Mm-hmm. And, you know, they've hold us like cheap prostitutes on the first of the month, you see. Mm-hmm. So if you're talking about, you know, what we should do, here's what we can do tomorrow. Here's what we can do. See, first, it's like anything else. When someone's pushing you around and they've gotten comfortable with pushing you around, or when a man has gotten comfortable with a woman and he don't do the same stuff he's been doing, you know, because my old lady is quick to tell me, you've changed. You've changed. I want to see you do the same thing. You know, the thing is you have to grab them by the throat first. Mm. You have to grab them by the throat first. See, you make the mistake when you say, well, they're Democrats and Republicans, but you have to, at base, they're white people. And white people understand MVP, money, violence, and power. They understand that better than anything in the world. You know, white folks don't go along with anybody who's not for them. They don't care whether you for right or wrong. They want to know whether you for them. And if you for them, they don't give a shit what you for. So you have to get their attention first. And here's how you get their attention. Here's a very simple way. Okay. In these places like Detroit, in these places like Cleveland, in these places like, Flint, Michigan, Saginaw, Michigan, Benton Harbor, Michigan, Pritchard, Alabama, wherever you want to say, 3rd Ward, 5th Ward in Houston, Texas, any place that you want to say where there are black folks are, here's what you're going to start doing. I believe in Brexit, but I don't agree with how they're doing it. I agree with walking away from the Democratic Party, but I don't believe in being sold from one plantation to the next. Your vote should be independent. And here's how this should work. If you want to do it this way. Find an independent candidate in your local community, because that's the only place where a popular vote wins. The presidential election is by electoral college. Right. Local, state, and municipal government is done by popular vote. So because you have the numbers in Detroit, because you have the numbers in all these places, these metropolitan areas across the country, because you have the numbers, you get behind an independent candidate for council person. Get behind an independent candidate for tax assessor. Get behind an independent candidate for tax recorder. Get behind an independent candidate for school board superintendent. Mm-hmm. Get behind an independent candidate for mayor. Get behind an independent candidate for the House of Representatives. Get behind an independent candidate for Senate, Congress, so on and so forth. Get behind those candidates because those people represent your districts. You can win that fight. Right. You can beat them by playing that game. See, people like to, dismiss when you talk about independent candidacy at the national level. Of course, you're not going to win at the national level, but you can win at the municipal, local, and state level. You can remember there, because remember, it wasn't federal politicians that they charged with obstructionism during the Obama presidency. All those people were elected at the state and local level. See, that's where the bread and butter is cut up. That's where the contracts is cut up. That's where the money is at that you need to invest in your community, to reinvigorate your community. Some of these black folks need contracts. Some of these black construction firms, I'm talking about real construction firms. I ain't talking about the niggardry. I ain't talking about a chuck in the truck. Some of these real black construction firms need that funding. Affirmative action was supposed to be for us, but it works for everybody except for us. The main beneficiaries of affirmative action now is white women, and that's what the Democratic Party's doing. It's the Democratic Party's doing, not the Republican Party. The Republican Party didn't do this. The Democratic Party sat back and watched the dismantling of all legislation that was meant to benefit us. The Democratic Party is responsible for that. So if you want to hit them, you have to hit them in the throat and then kick them in the nuts. And I mean, kick them in the nuts as hard as you. I mean, one of them little 3-year-old kids where you don't expect them to have that kind of force, and he hits you in the nuts, he's going to double you over every time. So that is what has to be done to the Democratic Party. They must begin to feel the pain. You must redistribute the pain at the local and the state level. You will get their attention real quick. And then they'll come with investment programs with the shit that they should have given us 50 years ago. No, check that. The shit that was due to us 50 years ago.
Right.
Because, I mean, after half of a damn century of support, you ain't giving us a damn thing. You owe us that. Then they'll come with these programs like they should have kept. Then they'll come with these programs for these minority entrepreneurs. Then they'll come with these investment programs for our hospitals. Then they'll come with these road works projects to repave all these potholes in our streets. Then they'll come with a more democratic version of the police department where all the power isn't centralized in the damn police unions and in the blue wall of bureaucracy. That's how you hit them. That's how you get their attention. And once you get off the host road, don't go back. Once you get off the host road, don't go back. You turn into Aunt Esther on them. When they coming to you asking for your vote, you go, oh, glory, not you heathen. Nope, sidestep. Be gone for me. Be gone from me unless you're going to give me something. If you're not going to give me something, get out of my face. If you're not going to give me a piece of legislation that is going to benefit me in the form of education, if you're not going to give me a piece of legislation that is going to benefit me in terms of the disparity in healthcare, in terms of the disparity in real estate and property investment, you need to be gone away from me. If you're not going to give me that, there's nothing for us to talk about. Get up out my face.
Thanks. Yeah, read that fine print. You know what I mean? I live here in the DMV area, and I remember a few years ago when they decided to build the MGM. We have an MGM here at the National Harbor, which is right outside of Washington, D.C. If you come here, you should check it out. It is nice. I go over there often. And I remember when they decided to vote on it and build it, that they had all of these, when they were campaigning for it, when they were doing the commercials and the radio ads and things like that. Oh, we're going to give this money to the schools. Oh, we're going to have, black contractors out here doing this stuff. And so, and then when it was time to build it, we're looking around for these black contractors and they're not there. You know what I mean? We're looking at the money for schools and they're not there. So they promised these people, and I'm specifically speaking about the MGM because they put it in Prince George's County, Maryland, which is a predominantly black county in Maryland, in Southern Maryland, right outside of DC. So they told all these black people, hey, we got jobs coming, we got contracts coming, and they don't come. So make sure that you read this fine print, you really do your research on these candidates. And like my man Tony said, hold these people accountable. You know what I mean? One of the best, I know black people are in mass are afraid to do it, but sometimes the best play is for you not to play the game at all. Walk away from it from the game. And eventually, if the Democrats keep taking ass whoopings in these elections, the hope or the understanding is that, okay, they're going to come back to black people and say, look, what do you want? That's the desired effect, even though a lot of times we've done that to a certain extent and they just tried to replace us. And that's what they're really doing now as far as with them allowing immigrants to come in and Hispanics and things like that. That's just facts. It's not hating on another group of people. It's not talking down to them. These are just facts. Instead of them saying, look, we are going to do something for you. We are going to provide tangibles for you, for black people. What they've decided to do is say, look, if you won't line up and vote, we're going to replace you. We'll bring other people in. You know what I mean? And you got it, Tony.
No, what I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, because that's something that you said that was so key. First thing, if you want to hold these guys accountable, here's what you do. Have you ever heard of something called a recall?
Mm-hmm.
You guys familiar with that? With what that is?
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
A recall is a way of checking a political hole when they try to escape with the money without turning the trick. So you're going to take my money and you're going to try to run. No, get back here, ho. Here's what you're going to do. A recall election is to recall the person whom you put in the office. You execute a recall by circulating a petition. A recall has to have a specific number of signatures. You also have to have a valid issue for a valid reason for the recall. You have to have a valid issue by which you are recalling this particular politician. You circulate those petitions, get the required scripture. See, the reason the Tea Party is so effective is not because of their policies. It's not because of their bullshit political positions. It's because those people will get out there in the streets. You go to the DMV, you're going to see them. You go to the unemployment office, you're going to see them. You go to the post office, they're there with their little table and their little lemonade. They're pamphleteering, they're sloganeering, they're politicking, they're organizing. They are out there in the street. They will beat the streets until the cows come home, because that is the backbone. That is the backbone of civic politics, knowing how to shoot them out of the sky when they thinking that they're going to flex on you. That's what the recall election is for. You gather those signatures, put that recall initiative on the ballot, get it approved. Once it's approved, he'll be out of office before he's carefully inaugurated. He won't even be able to take off his shoes good in that office before he's removed. I've seen this done in cities across this country. Recall elections are very important for making sure that these politicians do what they say they're going to do. Second issue, you were exactly right when you said that they're looking for people to replace us, and here's what they're going to replace you with. They're done with you. I'm just going to come out and say it. I wrote an article on the Negro Manosphere back in 2017 called "The Party's Over." When you didn't put Hillary Clinton in office, they were done with you. They blamed you for why Hillary Clinton lost that election. Not that super predators comment, not Bill Clinton's welfare reform, not his 3 strikes and you out. They blamed not that wasn't the reason. They blamed you when you couldn't put Hillary Clinton in office. And so now what they're going to do, you talking about the Latinos, you're going to have the Latino population is going to, in some sense, usurp the numbers or, neutralize the numbers of the black vote. But what they're doing is they're going back home. Who are they going back home to? They want some of that white working class male demographic. They're going to start cutting into the Republican stronghold on the white working class male demographic. They're getting rid of you whether you like it or not. If you don't place Joe Biden in the White House, which is not going to happen, even with everything Donald Trump is done, he's not going. Joe Biden is not going to beat Donald Trump. I could be wrong. I don't think so. Joe Biden is not going to be, even though they went and got a racially ambiguous woman. And I don't give a damn what Roland Martin says on his YouTube channel, on his little Roland Martin Unfiltered. That's not going to swing niggas back into a line just because they went and hired a light skin, just because he went and nominated or chose this little light skinned, racially ambiguous black woman to run for office. Now, I don't have no smoke for Kamala Harris or Kamala Harris or whatever, or however you say her name. I don't have any smoke for. But what I do have smoke for is this type of, you guys, have you guys ever been around the white person that doesn't know how to relate to you? So what they do is they try to adopt black street slang, as this kind of patronizing way to get close to you because they think that you can't understand, proper English, or standard English. So then they start speaking in slang to you. Well, this is what this is. This is what this is, nominating this woman here. This is, speaking in code, or they call themselves speaking in slang to niggas. It's like when Joe Biden told, I think it was Charlemagne, he said, "You're not black. If you don't vote for me, you're not black." Which is the dumbest thing he could have ever said. It wasn't the dumbest thing he's ever done. It's the dumbest thing that he's done recently.
Right.
But, they're going to start replacing the black vote. They're going to neutralize the power of the black vote. They're going to replace you with the Latina community, and they're going to replace you. They're going to make up the difference with the Latino community and that working class white male demographic. The very same people that are Republican, they're going to cut into that Republican base. And how will they cut into that Republican base? They're going to get rid of those programs. They're going to single-handedly preside over and support the dismantling of all the programs that they put in place in the 1960s. That's how they're going to cut into that white working class vote, because without that, a Democrat will not see the White House for another 20 years. Without that, the Republican Party will take these major metropolitan areas back, which in some sense they should do anyway, because the damn Democratic politicians have ran them into the ground.
Right.
So you're going to see that. You're going to see more overtures. You're going to see more overtures, because now it's like what you said earlier. You're the faithful side piece. You're the faithful booty call. Now they've done everything they wanted to do to you. They fucked you in every different way possible. They skeeted in your face. They've pissed on you. They've done everything possible that they can do to you, and you still haven't left them. So when you have a person who won't even leave during the time you're abusing that person, they start to respect you less and less, and they start doing overt shit to make you leave. It starts becoming outwardly disrespectful. They don't even attempt to hide it anymore. They don't attempt to disguise their animosity towards you. It will become blatant, and you will see that as the Democratic Party is going to move more and more towards that white working class demographic. You're going to be left out in the cold any way it go. No matter what happens, they're leaving you because they're done with you. They've turned every trick with you that they can turn. They've done everything to you that they've wanted to do. And now they just flat out don't respect you no more. They just flat out. You're not even a good fuck bitch. You're not even a good fuck bitch anymore. There's no joy in even sleeping with you anymore. They don't even get off by hate fucking you anymore. They don't, that doesn't even satisfy them anymore. So now they're going to greener pastures, and that greener pastures again is going to be the Latino community, and it's going to be that white working class male demographic.
Right. What you got, G?
Man, that was really good. I had to step away for a quick second. What was the question? What was the question again, Frank?
No, just overall, I asked, being that we're walking away more so now than we have in the last 20 years, what are some things that they can do to try to bring us back if they want to, if they even want to?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, they gotta produce tangibles, and it's obvious that hell's gonna freeze over before that happens. So I think what they're gonna end up doing is, I think they'll continue to cater to black women. As you can kind of see with the Kamala thing, they're kind of that whole sister girl thing, like go sister go. And as Tony said, they get a lot of good middle management jobs to these sisters. So I think they'll just continue to cater to them. I don't know if it'll be enough to get them into the White House though. Because essentially what you're doing is you're dividing the black male vote and the black woman vote, and you're hoping that's enough to get you into office, but I don't think that's enough. And even though they'll cater to Latinos, Latinos are conservative as well. Have you been to Miami? Like South Florida, man, some of them, man, California, LA, those Latinos are more racist than some of these white folks. So,
word.
Right.
Word.
Yeah,
that is word. Yep.
So a lot of them think that they can cater to them, but when they get over here and they go from no spit nothing glass to, get out my store, they start to vote conservative too. So I don't know. I think that they'll try to cater to black women. But I just don't think it would be enough. And I think Tony made a real good point in that they're going to have to go back to their roots and cater to blue collar working white middle America. They really going to have to do that. I think the Democrats are very upset with black people because of Hillary. Like they're pissed. This is why you see it's so much aggression in this election. Like a lot of people say this is a hot election. It's just because people are still upset about 2016. And when he win this election, it's gonna be a wrap. So like I said, these next 2-3 election cycles are gonna be pivotal, especially for black people and the black family in particular. So yeah, I'll leave it at that for right now.
Actually, what you got, KO?
Oh man, I really don't have anything. Pretty much Tony and Gabe pretty much said everything I could ever even think to say on this topic. So credit to those guys.
Yeah, for sure.
By going up there and getting that girl, that wasn't the dumbest thing he's done. That's the dumbest thing he's done recently. Because here's the thing. In case anybody don't know, let's just call out the elephant in the room. White folks are still stinging, even though he was a rather neutered president, even though he was a rather ineffectual president. He's the least offending president that has ever been in the office. White folks are still stinging behind Barack Obama's election. That was too much. Yeah. That was too much for the white working class to take. That was too much. Yeah. It was just what that did and what that unleashed from within white folks was unreal. And it's too soon. The wound is too fresh. The wound is too fresh. So by him going and electing that woman, the only thing they did was to bolster and to increase the support for Donald Trump, even if his constituency doesn't understand his policies. What you've done is you've made the white male working class, the Archie Bunkers of the world, the Bunkarians or the Bunkerites. The only thing you've done is make them double down on Donald Trump, and you're going to swing the niggas over there too. Right. Because the thing is if they have to deal with a situation where in many instances the women, it's the old double minority trick, which is another thing the Democrats and liberals are good at doing. They're very good at doing. This is why a lot of black men don't fuck with them the long way like that. What they do is the lie has been told where there are no qualified black men. Ain't that the thing they always tell us? There are no qualified. Black women are more intelligent and more industrious. I'm not saying that they're not intelligent. I'm not saying that they're not industrious. I'm not saying that they're not hardworking, but to say that they are more so over black men, I'm sorry, that's just not true. What they're doing is this is a practice that again goes back to the 60s and 70s. What they would do is they would put a black woman in, not because of her talent, she could be talented, not because of skills, she would be skilled. They put her in because what it does is it's a quota thing. They hire both a woman and a quote unquote minority. The old double minority tactic is what they do. So when you see them putting black women in positions of power in the Democratic Party to the exclusion of the black men, that is a very racist practice that has its roots in the same thinking of the far right element or the nutcase element in the Republican establishment. It's the same shit. It's the same shit. It's the same shit, different toilet. Same shit, different toilet. So what you do is you bring them in as running mates. Now, here's what the nigga did. The nigga kept it all the way G with you. He went and found a white man that insulted him. He went and found a white man that insulted him and made him his running mate. You know, said something slick and greasy about him and made him his running mate. Now, he don't go get a black politician. He don't go get a black male politician, which is the easiest way he could have increased his capital amongst black male voters. He went and got a black female. So what he did was he rubbed that system in niggas' face. What he did was he rubbed his nuts in niggas' faces by saying, look, okay, this is who I'm getting. Barack Obama was reasonable enough to get me, but I ain't even reasonable enough to pick a running mate like him. I go get a woman. I go get a woman. So what he did in essence was to rub his old ass balls in the face of a lot of black men, and they letting them know they don't particularly like that smell. They don't particularly like that position. And I can understand, I may not necessarily agree with it, but I can certainly understand why they would be repulsed, why they would be repelled for supporting this motherfucker. Because you're continuing an informal practice that has been going on for the last 40 or 50 years. Nobody's going to get behind that. Niggas are not stupid. They know what you're doing. They know what you're doing. I know what you're doing. I see what this is. You can't piss on my leg and tell me it's raining. You can't shit on my plate and tell me it's brownies. No, you can't do that. So him hiring her was like what the Republican Party did when they hired Sarah Palin. They know damn well they didn't have any business hiring Sarah Palin. They know damn well that they weren't going to win anything by hiring that trailer park MILF. And so what they did was they went and got them, again, this light-skinned woman playing on the color differences, and I'm going to do a panel on that tomorrow. Okay. The light-skinned, the color struck, the colorist argument in the black community playing on, light, bright, and damn near white, playing on that to get the support of a lot of the black women, a lot of the light-skinned black women by default, and the dark-skinned black women out of shame.
Right.
You see, but a lot of niggas see it. They probably can't describe it or call it or articulate where the shit is in the punch bowl, but they know not to drink from that bowl. They know not to go over there and get a cup of that punch. They know it's some shit in the room and they know it's some shit in the punch, but they know that you don't go get anything to drink from that table. So that's why niggas are not going to fall in line for Joe Biden. And I don't care what the black women say. They're not going to be able to get niggas in line behind that. I mean, you will have some of them that will, but the constituency that matters, they're going to vote Republican. And I understand why.
Facts. Like, I'm going to go back up to, let me see, it was a comment that my sister said, Nicole Michelle at the Inner Beauty Movement. At a certain point in your life, man, you have to, we've played this game for a long time, this political game, and we've been encouraged to vote, we've been told to vote, it's going to help us, all of these things. But at a certain point in time, you have to look at the results, you have to look at the production. In any aspect of your life, when you're doing something, you have to stop and you have to do an assessment and say, okay, look, what has this gotten me? Where are we? Where am I? When you look at these cities, like my sister Nicole just said, these urban cities that are run primarily by Democrats, they are in shambles. They are in shambles. I mean, you can call it what you want. You could say, well, oh, they set them up to fail. I don't want to hear that shit. These cities are run by Democrats. And like I said, I'm not promoting Republicans. I am not. I am an independent. I think black people should be independent. But for all of you people out here who are running around, just swinging from the nuts of the Democratic Party, you have to ask yourself, what are you getting for it? These cities they're trash. I just saw this. I just saw the lady in Baltimore who's trying to run for office there, do a little video. Yeah, Kim. And she's walking. Yeah, Kim. I reached out to her too. Kim, Classic, I think. Yeah, Classic. Yep. So I reached, and so she's walking around the hood in Baltimore, and I live maybe 30, 45 minutes from Baltimore. I have family in Baltimore. Baltimore is a very poor city. You could walk around that city, and there are complete blocks of houses that are torn down, burnt up. windows busted out. I mean, I'm talking about blocks. You could go on. You think I'm lying? Look, y'all go on Remax, Redfin, whatever, and look at and just search a house in Baltimore. You can find brownstones for under 100,000. You could find a whole brownstone for $50,000-$60,000. You know what I mean? They had a program one time where you could buy a property for $1. That's how bad it is in a lot of these cities. I mean, I'm considering investing. You know what I mean? Because what's going to happen is like what Tony was saying. The Republicans are going to come in and they're going to take this stuff over. You see it all over the place. You see all these major cities are being gentrified. Man, you know what I mean? DC is gentrified. You got it, G. Go ahead.
Let me tell you something, man. I live here in Memphis, and as my brother is my witness, Orange Mound is here. And Orange Mound was a real big African American community. It's well known. And they put the Mid-South Coliseum over there. It's the Mid-South Coliseum is sitting over there, and it's desolate. I actually graduated in the Mid-South Coliseum. And I said, I was still in college, and I was like, they're going to gentrify this whole area because Orange Mound sits very, very close to Midtown. And Midtown, Memphis, is where a lot of our hipsters are.
Christian Brothers.
Yeah, Christian Brothers is over there. If you go deeper down in Midtown, you'll see Rose College. Rose College looks like it's in the Northeast. But that whole area, white people want that. I knew white folks want that area because it's too close to Midtown. And they want to gentrify that area so they can raise because it looks it looked real desolate in Orange Mound. And sure enough, I kept saying they were going to gentrify this area. Sure enough, they just announced that they're going to do like a complex over there. So not only are they going to redo the Mid-South Coliseum, they're going to put 2 hotels. They're going to put a really huge park over there, 235 apartment homes, grocery stores. It's going to look like something out of a magazine. Right. And black folks over there that aren't paying their property taxes or can barely pay them now are going to be pushed out the area, and they're going to gentrify their whole area. And houses over there now that are $50,000 and $60,000, all of a sudden are going to be selling for $300,000 and $400,000. And that's why we have to put folks in office that are going to do our bidding so we can. If anybody should benefit, it should be black folks. Right. We've been over there in that area for what 100 some plus years, but white folks come in and benefit out of all that. Another thing too, what really makes me upset about these Negroes running around here talking about anybody but Trump is mostly them Detroit niggas. When Dr. Claude Anderson went up there and he pushed for Africa Town, them niggas ran him up out of Detroit. They told him it wasn't fair. It was racist. Same folks over here trying to tell me I need to vote for Joe Biden were the same Negroes that ran Dr. Claude Anderson up out of there. And if you go up there to Detroit right now, it's being gentrified. Them white folks pushing them niggas
up. It's a shithole.
They have to go out there to the suburbs and to the rural areas. Same niggas telling me to vote for Joe Biden told Dr. Claude Anderson, you need to get up out of here with that Africa Town mess.
Yo,
Frank, that's what's happening. That's what's happening, Frank. Like what I don't be in that area too much over there, but I raised a lot of hell over there in Orange Mound. What he said that it's getting gentrified and stuff like that, a lot of them criminal thug, low life ass niggas are really starting to move to East Memphis now. So what's happening is this. A lot of people that was in East Memphis, like the older people and the people that's not with the bullshit, they starting to go to Collierville, Cordova, and Bartlett. The thugs and criminals and shit is moving out this way. The crime in East Memphis has been rising substantially for a lot of years now. And on top of that, damn, I forgot what the hell I was going to say about Detroit. It'll come back to me though. Go ahead.
Man, same areas downtown, man. I got friends that live downtown Memphis. Apartments. You couldn't pay people to live downtown 15 years ago. Man, I got apartments down there, 1 bedrooms, $1,200.
Yeah, Harbor Town.
800 square feet.
Harbor Town.
It's like even here in DC, man, there were places when, you would be, even black people were scared to walk down them streets after about 8, 9 o'clock. And these same areas now in DC on southeast, northeast, Benning Road, the Anacostia area, all these places. Now you have houses, you have condos over there going for $1 million. I'm walking around. We got you got a Harris Teeter. You know what I'm saying? You got you got white folks walking their dogs, jogging at midnight. You know what I'm saying? And it's like
they walking their little poodles.
yeah. So it's real, and a lot of that is the fact that we thought that the Democrats were going to hold our hand forever. We thought that we keep keeping our head down and voting for them every once in a while when we do decide to vote. We thought we were good. We thought they were going to take care of us. At least if you're not going to do anything, at least just leave us alone. Let us have our little rent controlled, apartment over here. Let us have this little house that my grandma bought in the 40s that's been paid off for 50 years. Let us just live here. We'll keep our head down. We'll be quiet. Nah, you know what I mean? And these cities are ran by Democrats, and they're saying, look, y'all niggas ain't, you're not putting no money up. These spots are rent control. You're not doing nothing with it. White folk, when y'all first moved up here from the South, white folks said, nah, we're not living with y'all. So y'all come up here to these cities to get these good, factory jobs and stuff like that. We're going to move out in the suburbs. And now a lot of these folks are saying, look, we tired of living out in the suburbs. We tired of driving 30, 45 minutes in traffic to come downtown to work. We want to get back in the city. And because because of the little things that we did own, the small little communities that we were in, we didn't really take advantage of it. We didn't set up anything to sustain ourselves. We put ourselves in a position to be moved around, to be herded around like cattle. You know what I mean? And so they put us where they want. They allow us to do whatever they want if it benefits them, and if not, instead of doing anything for you, once we get fed up with it, they'll just replace you. Like Tony was saying, it's a pimp hoe relationship. You know what I'm saying? The hoe come in, hey, Daddy, I've been out there all night, my feet hurt. You're like, look, I don't want to hear that shit, man. You either gonna line up with what I want, or you can walk off. And when you walk off, I have another one right up in here who gonna line up. You know what I mean? That's the way we're treated. So you have to be willing to walk away. I don't care, black people. Look, if that means don't vote, then that means don't vote. I'm telling you, and if you don't vote, look, you can vote on the local level, because like Tony was saying, you can win a lot of that stuff. You can get certain people in positions to do your bidding on the local level, which is going to affect you more than any other level anyway. I see you, why Mac was good. But if that means walking away, if that means not playing this stupid game, if that means getting off the hamster wheel, you know what I'm saying? And understanding that you're running 100 miles an hour and you're looking around, you haven't moved anywhere, then stop playing the game. You know what I mean? But that's going to require your ass to do some work. That's going to require you to have a code amongst yourselves, because if not, we're going to be at the beck and call of either party. I don't want to be a hoe to the Republican Party either. I don't want to be anybody's hoe. And we've gotten comfortable with being the hoe. You know what I mean? Facts.
I have a question for Tony real quick.
There was a wonderful clip. Okay. I'm you can ask that question. There was I'm a lot older maybe than some of the people in here, but I know there was a movie that came out in 1973 called The Mac. And there was an episode in that movie where Lulu was trying to turn a trick, and her trick was about to be out of here, and she comes scurrying out of the alley crying.
I remember that.
And she's like, Goldie, you tried to off me, Goldie. Who are you talking about? Why aren't you over there where you're supposed to be? The white trick. He looked her straight in the eye and said, I don't give a shit about what just happened to you. You get back over there and get me my money. Now get. And that pretty much describes our relationship at this point with the Democratic Party. Now, some people will say, well, of course, they've attempted to pass these certain reforms. But the shit always died. I'm trying to figure out, how do they have all of these good progressive pieces of legislation that gets defeated in the 21st century, when Adam Clayton Powell was able to pass it 50 years ago during a period of explicit and outward segregation.
Right.
And he did more during Jim Crow than they can do in the 21st century. That doesn't make sense to me. How can this man have more power as a congressman than Barack Obama had as a president? How is it possible to get more legislation passed? You talking about 60 bills in 5 years. You talking about 12 bills a year. He can get that passed, but they can't seem to get anything passed for the good of the Black community. And it's because they don't want to. They don't intend to do it. I don't give a shit about what just happened to you. You get over there and you get me my votes. Now
I get.
So what were you going to ask me, my man? I'm sorry. I had to.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm going to ask all three of y'all. We know that the Japanese Americans got paid. We know the Jews got paid. We know the Indians got paid. We know the Irish got some form of compensation.
Mm-hmm.
Black folks ain't getting shit. What's going on with that? And what is up with what's up with what Gabe said? You have Black people that actually say we shouldn't get paid.
If
they're afraid.
Asking me, I'll give you the answer. Ain't a damn thing going on with it. Because here's the fallout. Here's the truth. They know that if they give Black folks reparations, which they know are due, it's no question that they're due. If they give them reparations, it will set off a civil war.
Mm-hmm.
They know if they do that, it will set off a violent white backlash. And that's what they are afraid of. Now, reparations are absolutely due to the Black community, and they should have them. But they're looking at the consequences of what will happen if they do it. I have always been a supporter of reparations, but I wanted it done in a specific manner. I wanted it done in a specific way. I did not want niggas to get checks, because niggas really would buy cigarette trucks.
Facts.
And ride off into they really would do some shit like that. At our low level of political maturity, we do some shit like that. I'm rich, bitch. We would do that. So I've always been in favor of it, but I know what the consequences are if we get it. And that's the fear, that's the rationale that they use to keep from giving it to us.
I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, for me, I think that it's just fear. You know what I mean? I think that a lot of times, we've all seen movies and, about slavery and, us being on the plantation and stuff like that. And anytime you had a group of us that wanted to fight for something real, for something tangible, that wanted to go against the status quo, you always had someone who was afraid of it. And they were so afraid that, they would, you had this whole meritorious manumission thing. But a lot of that was based on fear. Like, I don't understand the unknown. It's unknown. I don't know what's going to come. But even though this is bad, even though, I'm getting my ass whipped, my wife is getting raped, you know what I mean? They're having sex with my 12-year-old daughter and getting her pregnant so that they can have kids to ship down to Louisiana somewhere. Even though all these things are happening to me, it's what I know. And because I know it, I'm comfortable with it. And I'm afraid of the unknown. And so a lot of Black people, that's why I did this whole barbershop series, and I'm going to keep doing it, because a lot of things that we talk about in the barbershop, a lot of things that we talk about amongst ourselves, the majority of Black people know this. They feel it. They know the truth, but they're afraid. They're afraid to come out publicly and do certain things because I don't want to mess up my job. I don't want to mess up this. And because y'all niggas ain't built nothing for us anyway. So I'm not jeopardizing my, whatever I have for you. Because if I jeopardize it for you, what am I going to fall back on? Y'all ain't built no industries. You don't own any, shipping companies. You don't distribute nothing. So if I put my neck out there, you know what I mean? Look what happened to Malcolm when he put his neck out there for y'all. Look what happened to Martin Luther King when he put his neck out there for y'all. Y'all weren't around him when he was, when people were bugging his phone and calling him and bombing his house. Y'all niggas run around. So I'm going, if that means I got to coon it up, I'm going to coon. That's the mentality of a lot of people out here. A lot of people in our community. Because we know reparations, honestly, I'm for it. I believe we should have it. I mean, it's not even a question that we should have it. But like Tony said, to Tony's credit, I think we have to do it a certain way. And I think that, all of these politicians are playing games. I saw Biden come out. I think it was Bernie came out as well, too. Well, I want to have a discussion about, man, we've been discussing reparations since 1865, man. There's no more discussions to be had. The only things we need to discuss is how it's coming out. That's it.
Check,
you know what I'm saying? Cut the damn check. Or, we have our own coalition of minds come together and we say, look, this is how we want it. We want it. It could be a group of things. It could be money. It could be certain things, a lot of to us. But this whole mindset that we can't get it, that we shouldn't get it, is a joke. And the black people who feel like that, they're afraid, and they feel like, it like in slavery with the meritorious manumission laws. I think it was in South Carolina or Virginia, where black people were incentivized for going against the best interests of themselves and their own people. And so a lot of these folks, it was incentivized for you to snitch. If we all on the plantation and I see KO plotting a slave revolt, or he's plotting to escape, I was able to benefit by telling on you. So we've become accustomed to sabotaging ourselves because we think we're going to get that proverbial pat on the head from white folks, whether it be Democrat or Republican. We're not getting it from either one of them. You know what I mean? That pat on the head is not coming. It's not going to benefit you none. You're going to have a position. It may give you a little job, a little token joint, and you're not going to have any power. So you can have, and you see it all the time. You see a lot of these the brother in Boston, who, went to Harvard, went to all these schools. They pulled up on him for trying to get into his own house. And it didn't matter that he was a Ivy League educated brother. It didn't matter that he was successful. We see it all the time. The only thing that matters is your color. So, I think it's just fear. And I think it's a lot of people have just given up hope. And they say, look, it ain't coming. Y'all niggas stupid. They ain't going to give us nothing. Why do you keep talking about it? It's not coming. They're not going to give us anything. So, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, we deserve it. We should have it. And we should pull back until we get what we want. You know what I mean? But understand that even with pulling back, that requires us to do some work. We can't just pull back and do nothing. You know what I mean? Because if you don't have a code, if you don't understand that you need to build, you know what I mean, then you're going to be pushed around by whoever's in power. You know what I mean? Don't get caught up in this brown coalition, this we are, we are the world coalition, because if they get in power, they're going to do the same things to you. You know what I mean? They don't care nothing about you either. They're going to do the same things. We've seen it. And I saw, matter of fact, I was watching the playoffs the other day and I saw this commercial came on. It was with LeBron, and they're doing, I think he was, he's the face of this whole project where they're revitalizing Cleveland. And then I saw all these people who, I guess they had they got these business grants or loans or something like that. And they're trying to revitalize parts of downtown Cleveland. And I'm looking at the show and I didn't really see I haven't really seen it extensively, but from what I saw, I didn't see anybody black. I didn't see anybody black that was, I got a loan or was able to open a business and set things up like that. But to Gabe's point, I do remember. I remember when Dr. Claude Anderson came up there, he went to Detroit. He said, look, we need an Africa town. We need a town. This stuff is cheap. Nobody's here. It's poverty stricken. We can buy this place up. We could buy whole blocks up and do for ourselves, have our own businesses, our own banks, all of this stuff. And it was black people who ran them out of there. because at the end of the day, it's fear. We're so afraid of leading. We're so afraid of being on our own. We don't want to walk away from the nipple. We want to sit in the lap of white folks and suck that nipple. You know what I mean? We don't want to come off. Every time we get pulled away from that nipple, we start crying. We don't want to do faster. We don't want to grow up. We don't want to grow to a certain age and to a certain mindset where we don't need the nipple no more. You know what I mean? We can go buy our own milk, or we can, have our own. We're afraid of that, and because we're afraid of that, we keep buck dancing and playing these games with ourselves and hoping for something that's just not going to come. It's not coming. We're hooked. I did a live. Matter of fact, I did a live on it. I mean, I did some content on it a week or so ago. It was called Hooked on Hope, and a lot of Black people we're hooked on hope. We are hooked on the idea of hoping that politicians are going to do things for us that we know they're not going to do. We know they're not. Even if Biden wins, we're going to sit here 4 years from now, more than likely talking about the same stuff, talking about us being locked up, talking about us not owning anything, talking about gentrification, all of that, because it's more than just who you put in that seat. It's what they're willing to do for you. What tangibles are they willing to put on the table? You know what I mean? And let me see what we got. Thanks. Yeah, but that's it. That's all I got. So I'm not gonna hold y'all brothers. I know we've been rocking a little bit over 2 hours. So I just want well, first I want to thank y'all for coming on. I want you all to give a parting shot. I've already put the descriptions to your YouTube channels. I already put them in the description box, so I'm gonna add KO's as well. But I just want y'all brothers to give a few parting shots, and then we'll wrap this thing up. So let me start with KO. You got it. Okay, I wrote out. Okay. You got it, Tony.
I mean, we don't have to play these games. We don't have to do this. We don't. The chains are off. Get up and walk away. We don't have to be at the beck and call. We don't have to be beholden to any of these parties. We really don't. It just depends on our approach. When you say pull back the vote, I would say pull back the vote, but start organizing the vote very vigorously in your local neighborhoods. Because that's where the bread and the meat is sliced, at the local and state level, at the municipal and state level. That's where you should, focus. That's where we should start focusing our efforts. There you can win with independent candidates. And if that's too radical for you, look around for those candidates, whether they be Republican, whether they be independent or Democrat, the ones who represent your values, the one that represent your politics, the same politics that we have in the barbershop, the same politics that we have in the churches, the same politics that we have in our homes. These people, whether we accept it or not, they actually work for us. We pay their salaries. So again, we don't have to play this game. We can put these people in office. And we can also take these people out of office. We can take them out of office. We can take them out of the game altogether. We are not stuck playing this game. We do not have to do this. So I always say, if it happens to you once, you're a victim. If it happens to you twice, you're a volunteer. It is what it is, and that's what it is. And everybody knows that's the way it is. So that's all I got.
Right. UFG.
All right, man. Thanks for having me on, Brother Frank. You know how we do over here, man.
For sure.
Tony, are you going live tomorrow?
Yes, I am. I am going live tomorrow. Okay. I'm doing a show on. I'm doing a live tomorrow on colorism, dating, and marriage in the Black community. It's going to be called, the name of the live is going to be called For Colored Girls Only.
What
That's the
time?
name of the live. Tomorrow it's going to be, I'm going to set it for 3 p.m. tomorrow. And I'm going to do it on 3 p.m. tomorrow. It's going to be on Zoom because I have way too many problems on StreamYard. That was one of the difficulties. That was one of the reasons why I was late getting to the discussion today, because I couldn't get this thing to load up. And it's something here. My system, my connection just doesn't like StreamYard. So I'm going to do this live tomorrow from Zoom. I'm going to have a Zoom meeting tomorrow, and I want to do this tomorrow for colored girls only tomorrow. The truth about colorism, dating, and marriage in the Black community.
Okay. All right, cool. I'll make sure I tune into that. I'm going to make sure I don't go live because tomorrow I'll be talking about Meg Thee Stallion. Man, you know, every time I try to get out the game, they bring me back in, man.
I know it.
You know, I just try to do nice. I try to do a little relationship content, a little niggatry, a little celebrity content, and these folks just keep bringing me back into the roast game. So I gotta handle that tomorrow, because these niggas and these hoes are running around here on social media with this Meg Thee Stallion mess. I actually saw that video live where Meg was talking about Tory and you need to stop playing with me. And now Blavity and Madame Noir, they've written hit pieces on why Black women aren't protected. So I have a lot to say about this. So I'll do that sometime tomorrow. I want to make sure I don't interfere with Maceo's broadcast, because I want to make sure I hear that. But I got a lot to say about that. But Frank, thanks for having me on, man. This was good. Your boy, I'm about to, man, sit back and eat me some fish and chill, man. But as far as like what we were discussing today, man, Black people need to grow up. We really need to grow up, and we need to start treating serious issues seriously, instead of just passively going along with what white mommy and daddy are telling us. I mean, I don't want to see one more person telling me to vote for Joe Biden and they've never read Powernomics by Claude Anderson.
Facts.
If you've never seen Malcolm X's position on politics, don't tell me to vote for either way. Don't tell me to vote either way, and you don't understand how this works. So, we have to get that together as a people. We have to get on code, and we have to have an agenda, because voting with no agenda and no money results in what we have today. I mean, we've been voting Democrat the last 60 years, and we're probably in a worse position now than we are when we first started voting for them. So things have to change in that regard. I just tell Black people that are here, that are listening, just stay the course, be smart, and whatever you choose to do, just make sure you're doing it with a sound mind, and research, get information. This is a great broadcast loaded with information from Frank and Tony and KO. We provided some great information. So that's really all I have. Again, I'll be doing a live tomorrow. Y'all be looking on my page to see the exact time. But we're gonna cook Miss Meg on tomorrow. We have a lot of we have too many folks that invest in things like that too. We have these Madame Noir sitting up here writing hit pieces on Black men, but I haven't seen them one time talk about Kamala Harris's track record as Attorney General of the state of California, how detrimental that is to both Black men and women. But I'll talk about that tomorrow when I get on them. So, but that's all I got, man.
So first and foremost, I want to thank my brothers, for coming on and showing me love and support. They've all shown love and supported this channel. The links to their channels are in the description box. So please, if you have not subscribed to Ultimate Black Man Radio, if you have not subscribed to Genosha TV, to Power and Strategy, or to Center of the Board, please do so. You're missing out if you have not done that. And KO's link as well, I'm going to put that in. I want to shout out all the supporters of the channel. I want to shout out my wife, who's running around running errands. About to come home and cook this catfish for me, because I'm getting hungry.
Man, we
You know what I'm saying?
have a
You know what I
catfish
mean?
too, man. I'm eating some catfish and go trick off, man.
You know, for sure. Like she, you know, I can smell it, so I'm about to go down there and eat that. But I just want to tell the people, man, look, you know, like Tony said, the chains are off. You know what I mean? We've been in the zoo for a long time, and we've been institutionalized. So the chains have been removed, but we're still living our lives like we're in the zoo. You know, we're still living our lives like we can't walk away. And I just want to tell Black people that you deserve to get what you want in life. And so stop living and moving around like you just have to accept whatever treatment you get. I don't care who it's from. I don't care if it's from your significant other. I don't care if it's from your family. I damn sure don't care if it's from a politician. You know what I mean? You deserve to get whatever it is that you want out of life. If you deserve to, you get one life. I say it all the time. You get one life, okay, that we can confirm, that we know about. You shouldn't want to live your life being at the beck and call of the Democratic Party, who's asked everything of you and giving you nothing in return. You understand what I'm saying? Like to Gabe's point, Gabe said, look, we haven't moved one iota. We have not. Mark, I am, boy. I'm gonna eat this catfish. You know what I mean? The kids are gonna get put down, and I'm clapping the hell out of them cheeks. Facts. But you know, Dr. Claude Anderson talks about, and he says that, you know, in 1865, or you know, towards the end of the Civil War, Black people owned 1/2 of 1% of this nation's wealth. We owned 1/2 of 1% of this nation's wealth. And currently, today, 21st century, 2020, Black people own 1/2 of 1% of this nation's wealth and resources. We have not moved, and I'm quoting him directly now, we have not moved one iota from 1865 until today. Okay. And we have walked around living our lives like we're better now because we get to dress better. We get to have a job. We get to make a little bit of money, but we don't have any power. We don't have any influence. And the people that we're looking to give it to us have not done so, and they will not do so. They're not going to do it. So, brothers, Black women too, we need to walk away from these parties. You need to walk away from people, period, who make you promises and don't deliver, who don't respect the nuclear family, who don't respect masculine man, feminine woman, children in that order. If they're not promoting that, that's not somebody or something that you need to align yourself with, because it's going to cause dysfunction and dissension in the ranks. And so it is what it is. But I want to thank y'all for pulling up. I am going live on Tuesday nights with my sister Shantina. You know, she loves wings, so we're going to do a wings, wine, and wisdom live video on Tuesday night. You know what I mean? We're going to do that on Tuesday night. We're going to talk about game that mothers should tell their daughters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're going to talk about how I put a post up last week and I was talking about single mothers, and I was saying, look, you know, single mothers need to tell their daughters the truth. You know, you need to tell your daughters the truth about how hard your life is. I don't care what good job you have. I don't care how cute you look or how thick you look. You stress the hell out. You struggling. It wasn't designed for you to do it by yourself. Okay. You need to hip your daughter to that game. You need to tell your daughter the truth instead of walking around promoting this. I can do everything. I'm independent, because you know you tired. You know you stressed out. You know what I mean? You might not look like it, but it's a lot on you. You need to give your daughter some game and tell her the truth. You know what I mean? And put her on to Nicole Michelle at the Inner Beauty Movement and get some game and better yourself, man. Stop lying to these girls, acting like you got it all together, because you don't. Give them some game. Tell them the truth about the mistakes that you made in your life. Because because their responsibility is to be better than you, to go farther than you went. You know what I mean? So they can't do that, or it's going to be a struggle for them to do that if you don't give them the game, if you don't really tell them the truth. Dysfunctional mothers make and raise dysfunctional daughters, period. We're going to talk about it. Me and my sister, the House of L, we're going to talk about it on Tuesday night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right. So on that note, that's all I got. Y'all be safe. And until next time. All right. I'm out.